Revelation 14:1 greets you once again today on this holy Sabbath day of God, the 19th of May 2018. We are here again on another study of what God has revealed to us regarding the days that we live in. We still have not completed our study on the use of force as Christians. Is that an option for us? I think it is a very important topic to study, and we should not rush into it. Even at this point, I have conflicting conclusions on what options are available to Christians in these last days that we live in. It's very important to know that, because we will be persecuted, we will be attacked, we will be required to save ourselves. So, is force an option? So, we will continue on that topic next week, if God allows. But today, I had been asked by a friend of mine to enlighten us on what the Bible says about these days. What a Christian or a Bible scholar should be expecting. What to watch out for. What signs are there to watch out for in these last days that we live in? That's why we have named today's study as the prophetic watch. We do not just watch things and believe that it's just happened all the time, because we study prophecies, and prophecies, it says in one of the Bible verses, is a light that shines into the future. This is where faith comes in. When you have faith, faith is something that you do not see, but you believe is out there. The thought of heaven. No one has seen heaven, but the Bible tells us so. So we have faith that there is heaven there. That's why we adjust our lives so that we may live a holy life, that we may attain that heaven that is promised to all His people. So prophecy is such too, that it tells us about what hasn't happened yet, but we will need to see the signs. So, prophetic watch. What is a prophecy student have to be watching out for in these last days, the very days that we live in today? This is a list of what I've put down, very important, that we need to be looking at. First is the first beast of Revelation 13, and that is the papal system. Revelation 13 tells us about this beast. Second, the second beast of Revelation 13. And who is that beast? In other studies that we've done in the past, we've studied about these two beasts and how we came to the conclusion that the first beast is the papal system of Rome. How we came to the conclusion that the second beast is of Revelation 13 is the United States of America. And also in Daniel 11, it talks about the king of the south and the king of the north. King of the south is the Islamification of the world, something that we are seeing right there in front of our faces on our TV screens on a daily basis. And the king of the north is the Roman Catholicism. We've also studied these two powers in our past study regarding the king of the south and the king of the north. For those of you who are not very familiar, please go back to our YouTube videos. I think it's titled in the Revelation 14:1 YouTube section, and some of the studies there are regarding the king of the south and the king of the north. So Islamification and Roman Catholicism. So these are 4 points that I think is very important for us today to be on the lookout for as we go on from day to day. Why and who are these powers? These powers are at play in the world today. As I've already said, it's seen on TV on a daily basis. You see news regarding the Pope, where he travels and how people are interested in who this man is. And we also see the rise of the power of the United States on a daily basis. Trump is on the news every day. We witness them on a daily basis. And more importantly, because you are a student of prophecy, you are seeing the fulfillment of prophecies on a daily basis. So that is the more important part. A normal person would just see events and either will bring him fear or joy or whatever. The emotions are affected. But for a student of prophecy, these things will mean a lot, much more to him, because he's already studied it in the Bible, and he knows that the prophecies tells us this, that these will happen. It leads us on towards the climax of world events, which will culminate in Christ's return to this earth to take those who are his with him back to heaven. So that is the climax of this world, of this movie that we are watching as we study prophecy. Ain't it exciting? Well, let's move into the Bible. It says in Revelation 13:1, we're just going through it quickly. For those of you who want to study it in more detail, go into our YouTube videos in Revelation 14:1 and look up the topics there that covers this topic. Revelation 13 verse 1 said, who wrote the book of Revelation? It's John, the disciple of Jesus. He's saying here, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Blasphemy is something evil. Blasphemy is when you are a man and you claim to be God. So this beast that is rising out of the sea is an evil power. It's an evil power. It has 7 heads and 10 horns, and each horn has a crown on it. What else does it say? In verse 2 it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and his great authority. This is the characteristic of this beast that is rising out of the sea. It has a head, it's of a leopard, its feet were like those of a bear, and it's the mouth of a lion, or the body of a leopard. And something very important, it adds right to the end there. Who gave him his power? The dragon. And who is the dragon? We've already found out in our studies of prophecy that the dragon is Satan himself. No wonder that power is an evil power that's rising out of the sea. According to Bible prophecies, sea means it's coming out of a populated area. An area that is already populated, seas. So it's coming out of a populated area, and this power is a very evil power, because who gave it its power? Satan himself. If we go back to Daniel chapter 7, verses 3 to 7, we will be able to identify these three animals. Daniel, 800 years before Christ, was in Babylon as a prisoner of war. And he was seeing this vision. This is what he saw, and it says in verse 3, "And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion." Remember John's vision? It has a mouth like a lion. So the first beast was like a lion and had eagle wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and the man's heart was given to him. So that was the first beast, a lion. So we see this first beast in Daniel's vision was interpreted to Daniel by Gabriel, the archangel, the angel. Gabriel told Daniel, when Daniel wanted to know what this vision was, and Gabriel told him that first beast, the lion, is the Babylon, and Daniel was right there in Babylon at that time. And then he said, "And behold," verse 5, "another beast, the second, like unto a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs, and between its teeth." So all those have certain meanings in Bible prophecy. But the more important thing I want to bring out here is it's the bear, because this bear too is part of that beast, one beast that is coming out of the sea that John is viewing 800 years later after Jesus. So he's viewing this beast that came out of the sea with the mouth of a lion and with its feet like a bear. So the first beast that Daniel saw was a lion, and the second one was a bear. Verse 6 in Daniel chapter 7 says, "And these I beheld, and lo, another leopard, like a leopard, which had upon the back of its wing 4 wings of a fowl." So the third beast that Daniel saw 800 years earlier was this leopard, and it represented the kingdom of Greece. The bear represented the kingdom of Medo-Persia. And we know in history, in hindsight, we are so blessed because history defines this, that Babylon was the first empire, that went down and conquered Judea, bringing Daniel and all those Israelites back to Babylon. A few years later, Medo-Persia came over. Daniel was still alive and conquered Babylon. The bear, the lion was the first nation, the bear came over and conquered. A few hundred years afterwards came Greece and conquered Medo-Persia. So you see, these are three separate pagan kingdoms that ruled the world, ruled the Christians, the people of God at that time. There were no Christians then. Now, this beast that John is seeing coming out of the sea is only one beast. But this beast contains characteristics of the lion, characteristics of the bear, and also of the leopard. So three of the things that those three powers in history were known for is contained right there in this beast. This is composite beast. A combination of all these three powers is in this one beast that we are seeing. And it says, and I saw there's also a fourth beast. And it says that it's a dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. This fourth beast was so evil that Daniel could not even describe the animal that he could link it to, like a lion or a leopard or even a snake. No, he did not even have a description to describe this fourth beast. But anyway, that's the composite power that we are looking at through the eyes of John the Revelator. It came out of the waters. It ruled for 1260 years. All these details are contained in that other study. You can go back. But for those of you who have been following these studies, you should be familiar with these numbers that I'm bringing out. It ruled for 1,260 years, from 538 to 1798. Exactly. That was the papal rule during the Dark Ages or the Middle Ages, as we know it in history. It ruled from 538 to 1798. It is based in Rome. Remember the prophecy said the dragon gave it power, its seat, and its authority. It's based right there in Rome, the city of seven hills. It's all there in the prophecy. And it also received a deadly wound. So this power, that beast that came out of the water, it had 7 heads and 10 horns. At one stage, it received a deadly wound on one of its heads. And that happened in 1798 to end its reign temporarily. 1798, what happened? Napoleon of France sent his general up down to Rome, General Berthier, to go and get the Pope and put him in jail. The Pope of that time died in captivity and fulfilled the prophecy that it had a deadly wound. But it says that wound, he recovered from that wound and he came alive again. And it says that the whole world wondered after it. In 1929, Mussolini of Italy gave the power back, the civil power, to the Vatican and said, You can rule in your own small nation there, the Vatican, 130 something acre of land within the city of Rome. That's where the Vatican sits. It's a separate state altogether from Italy. That is 1929. So that power was given back to the popes, and that fulfilling the prophecy that it recovered from that deadly wound. And right after that, from 1929 till today, the whole world is wandering after this beast. He is the most popular person in this whole world today. Wherever he goes, millions and millions of people flock to see him and worship with him. And remember, who gave him his power? Satan himself. Who gave him his seat? Satan himself. Who gave him his authority? Satan. Who is this beast? It's the papal system of Rome. I hate to say this because I have families who are in this system. But the truth has to be told. The truth has to be told. You won't hear this from the churches of today. You won't hear this message. But someone has to enlighten the world. And it's not only me. Faithful people all over the world are standing up for the truth and are always aware of the consequences of speaking the truth. So it is the papal system of Rome, or the Roman Catholic Church. The second beast of Revelation 13. It says, what does the Bible say about this second beast? It came out of the land. Read Revelation 13. It's different from the first. First beast came out of the sea, and the sea means populated area. The second beast came out of a land. If seas means populated, that means the land means unpopulated area. So the second beast came out of somewhere which was vacant. And it says that it was a lamb-like beast. And we know what a lamb looks like. You know what a lamb will, it's a cuddly little animal. So everyone would love this animal, love this beast, love this power. And it says, but this lamb-like beast spake like a dragon. We just talked about the dragon in the first beast. The dragon gave the first beast its power. But this second beast, though it was a cuddly little lamb-like beast, it began to speak like Satan himself. Wow! You can imagine the prophecies of the Bible. It also talks about this second beast forcing the whole world. It's using force. The lamb using force. That nation that everyone looked up to. It's going to force the whole world. What is it going to force the whole world to do? To bow down to the first beast. To bow down to Rome. To bow down to the papal system. To bow down to the Roman Catholic Church. That is what this second beast will do. And who is this second beast? It's founded on a new land. When Christians were persecuted in Europe by that very same power we've just studied about, the first beast, they ran away from there. They boarded ships and crossed the Atlantic. And where did they arrive at? This newfound land here in the Americas. And they praised God. Thank you, God. You took us away from that first beast, and you've given us this vacant land it was only populated by the Native Americans. A vacant land, unpopulated land, vast land, right from the east. They came on the east coast, and today the whole area from the east to the west coast is being populated, this lamb-like beast. And here, Revelation 14:1, this small ministry that's trying to say out, give out the truth to the whole world, is located right here on the west coast. This was the last part of this land that was populated by the pioneers, because they came from the east, crossed over from Europe, and then they began to spread right down to the west coast. And here we are, Revelation 14. Thank you, Lord, for locating us in this part of this newfound land where the second beast is ruling. It was born in 1776. Can you imagine that date? 776 is when the Americas got their independence. It's the day of independence. The year of independence is 1776. What year did we just study about the first beast? It received that deadly wound in 1798. This is 1776. So see, just before the end of the reign of the first beast in 1798, the second beast was beginning to come out of a newfound land. 1776, the second beast is beginning to rise, being prominent the world over, while the second beast, Napoleon, the first beast, Napoleon sent General Badia down to Rome to get the Pope, and he died in captivity. That first beast received a deadly wound, while this second beast began to reign, to grow and build, and became the power of this world today. So we've seen those two beasts. The first beast, the papal system of Rome, and the second beast, the United States of America. Now let's jump into the other two characters that we want to study. We want to be watching out for in these last days. The king of the south. In Daniel chapter 11, that same Daniel is still in Babylon. Chapter 11 verses 4 to 5. It reads, "And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken, shall be divided toward the four winds of heaven." So if you read this in the context that it's written, it is talking about the third. Remember, we read about the first beast was the lion, the second beast was the bear, and the third beast was the leopard. And it had 4 heads. The leopard, which represented Greece, or Alexander the Great in history, when you study history. Alexander the Great. So this prophecy is talking about that. And it says, "His kingdom shall be broken, and shall be divided towards the four winds of heaven." The four winds, north, east, south, west. So it became divided into 4, because he had 4 generals. Who's this? Alexander the Great. When he died, these 4 generals divided his kingdom up. One took the east, one took the west, one south, and one the north. So they divided the kingdom into 4. And the kings of verse 5 specifically talks about the king of the south. "And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion. So, in fact, this talks about the two kings, the kings of the north and the king of the south. Verse 5 only talked about the king of the north. This is Alexander's empire on the map. You see that it's all here. This is Egypt and North Africa. This is Arabia. And this is the area that Alexander had conquered, and he was ruling all this area. And when he died, his 4 generals divided this land into 4. One took the south, the king of the south that we are now studying. One took the east. He became the king of the east. One took the west, and the other the north, the king of the north. But when you study history, the king of the east and the king of the west were weak. So the king of the north took over all this land. The 4th general. So there ended up the king of the south and the king of the north. So south and north, it should be in reference to a point. It should be north of something and south of something. Let's have a look. In the middle lies where the people of God are. Israel. Can you see that? By this time, Israel is right here. This is the Mediterranean. Israel is the small spot in here. So south of it is Egypt and the king of the south. North of it is Syria and all this area, the king of the north. So you see, king of the south and king of the north. When these two powers act on each other, who is affected? The one who is in the center, in the middle. He's been sandwiched between these two powers. So that is why when it's referring to king of the south and king of the north, Daniel, when he is writing this, he's thinking of his homeland, Judea. So he's saying, the king of the south of my homeland. King of the north is the king of the north of my homeland. So that's how it was divided up, and that is how it turned out to be. The king of the north took over the lands of the king of the east and the west. So that was during Alexander's time. Right after Alexander, as we study history, came the Roman Empire, which took up all this land. Let's have a look at that. The area that is covered. You see now how this map has changed. It's right here. Egypt is down here. Syria is up there north. Judea is right there. But you see, the Roman Empire has extended this right up down to this area. You're going into Europe now. Roman Empire, this is Italy down here. Rome is here. So all this area is being covered by Rome. So you see that the king of the north has been extended not only out here in the Middle East, but has extended into Europe. We have England, we have Germany. So all this area is now the king of the north. King of the south is still south of the glorious land. South, down here, Arabia, Egypt, North Africa, and all those. And still the king of the areas of the king of the south. So I hope that this picture will help us understand how things have changed over the two kingdoms that ruled the world at that time. From the era of the Greece or Grecian empire under Napoleon and the four generals to the Roman Empire. So Rome, this is pagan Rome, the government of Rome. We have not come to papal Rome yet. So, but you see that the land area that they've covered, we are now stretching into Europe, Southern Europe. Okay? So, what are we watching in these last days? I've tried to cover that in that explanation we've just gone through. We should be watching out for the papal system. We should be watching out for the USA. What's the USA doing in the world today? We should also be watching out for the Catholic religion. We've studied the first beast, and he is the head of the Catholic religion. And we also know about the king of the south, Egypt. And that is where the base of Islamification. There's another study that I encourage you to study, to go into. There's a video out there in our YouTube videos, how Alberto Rivera, an ex-Jesuit priest, we dug into what he wrote, what he said about how the Catholic Church was part of the forming of the Islamic religion. But that's another topic, which interesting. As a student of prophecy, it will open up your eyes on what is happening around the world today. So those are the four powers that we are looking at: the papal system, the United States of America, the Catholic Church, and Islam. Let's have a look at what's happening today. Current events. The Pope is the most popular person on earth today. That's a picture of his travels in South Korea. Korea is a Buddhist country. Millions and millions and millions of people thronged the streets when the Pope was there. A very small number of Catholics and Christians are there in South Korea. But look at how many people throng to where he is. The second beast is the US of A. Well, the first beast, that's only Korea. Everywhere he goes to even goes to Islamic countries. People throng, people crowd, and are eager to be in touch with this person, the Pope of Rome. So everywhere he goes to, millions come in to have a look at him. The second beast is the US of A. What have you been hearing about the United States today? Current events. Remember what Trump said about a year ago? And he's kept his words. He said about ISIS, we will wipe them out from the face of this earth. And is he doing that? That's exactly what he is doing. Look at the numbers down there. If you can focus down here, it says square miles liberated from ISIS during Trump's era. Trump has just been in power for 1 year. Is 15,000 square miles. During Obama's time, only 13,200. So see, he is acting on what he's saying. Square miles still held by ISIS, During Trump's time now, it's only 1,930 square miles. While during Obama's time, it was 17,500 square miles. So you see the difference? He's keeping to his word, and his words are, we will wipe ISIS out of from the face of this earth. Oh, sorry. What did I do? Estimated number of ISIS fighters during Trump's time, because he's eliminated a lot of them, only 1,000. During Obama's time, it was 35,000. So you see that he has cleared out over 35,000 ISIS fighters during this 1 year of his reign. Number of people freed during Obama's 8-year term, only 2.4 million people. During this 1 year that Trump has been in power, 5.3 million. How they calculated, I'm not really sure, but this is the source from the Defense Department of the United States. And the number of coalition bombs dropped by Obama during those 8 years, 65,000 bombs. During Trump in this 1 year, 38,000 bombs. That's what this president of the United States of America is doing. I'm not saying it is wrong, because he is attacking evil. But what is more important to a student of prophecy is that things are happening concerning the second beast of Revelation 13, which ties up fittingly with the prophecies of the Bible. That's what's important. Whether he's doing the right thing or wrong. People may say, oh yeah, he's doing the wrong thing, he's killing people. But to me, it doesn't really matter. All I'm concerned about is that this book that I refer to on a daily basis is the truth. It opens up the future. It's telling me what will happen in the future. This is the book. That's what's important to me. Look at those two that next picture. So he's wiping out ISIS in this first picture. There are two characters there in that second picture. Trump pointing at them, the president of Russia, what's his name? Putin, and the president of South Korea. These two, during Obama's time in office, they had their way all over the place. They made a fool out of Obama. They promised him things and they broke their promise. But with Trump, these two are like two tame dogs right now. Trump is controlling them. They are fearful of what Trump can do, of what the United States can do. In fact, Trump is only making use of the power that is in this land, of the wisdom, of the resources that is available in the United States of America, that the whole world fear the United States of America today. You know, it says that it will force the whole world. This is exactly what is happening right now. The resources were there all this time. Obama could have used them and became a very powerful person. But he chose not to. Trump is different. So those two powers of Russia and North Korea, even Iran, the Shahs of Iran have shut their mouth now. They've been talking like strong words in the past. Today, they are like docile dogs. and look at that fourth picture at the corner. The second beast is right there together with the first beast. And that prophecy says in Revelation 13 that the second beast will force the whole world to bow down to the first beast, right there on the left of President Trump. Okay? That's the second beast of Revelation 13. Let's look at the other power that we were going to look at, Catholicism. Catholicism is an ideology that began in Babylon. How did Catholicism start? It started after the time of Jesus. During Jesus' time, there was just the Jewish church. And then the Jewish nation did not receive Jesus as the Messiah. They rejected Jesus. And what happened? The disciples thought that they will tell the story of Jesus. The story of Jesus was downplayed by the Jews. The disciples decided to open it up to the world. Christianity, that was the beginning of the Christian era. The first church was opened up by Paul in Antioch. And it spread all over that place, all over that map, all over North Africa, all over into Europe. And it spread like wildfire. And what happened? Satan, we read in Revelation 13, gave its power of authority to the first beast. And it started this fake Christianity, according to Alberto Rivera, the ex-Jesuit priest. The Catholic Church. What it did, it brought out these idols that were worshipped for Apollo, the sun, some lady, and baptized them. One was baptized to be Peter. That one was to be Mary. You'll see all this in the Vatican. I have been to the Vatican and I've seen this. Apollo is right there at the door of the Vatican. As you come out, everyone has to kiss the toe. All believers have to kiss the toe of this statue of Peter, who they claim was the founder of the Catholic Church. So it's this church, a fake Christian church, which was started by Satan himself to counter the wildfire of Christianity spreading all over Europe, spreading all over the Middle East, spreading all over the North Africa. It was spreading like wildfire. So Christianity had to be countered. And Satan gave its power of authority to this first beast. And the power of authority was found in that city of 7 hills in Rome. So Satan used to combat early Christianity, and it started the fake Christianity. So the true Christianity was spreading, and fake Christianity was also coming up through the Catholic Church. And it calls itself the Mother of Church, the Mother Church. Remember, during the Dark Ages, everyone was Catholic. Through Martin Luther, when he saw the truth of the Bible, he protested out of the Catholic Church, beginning the Protestant movement. We all protested out of Catholicism because now we realize that this is fake Christianity. We protested out of it. We walked out of it, led by Martin Luther in 1715. We just celebrated the 500-year anniversary of the Protestant movement. When was it? 2015. From 1715 to 2015 is 500 years. We just celebrated that. But today, all these Protestant churches are going back to the mother church. They're signing up agreements that we regret what took place back then in 1715. We regret our church being part of the Protestant movement. We are coming back to you, our mother church. We are going back to Antichrist. Satan gave it his power. And we find right there in Revelation chapter 13, verse 2. So we should be on the lookout about this power, Catholicism, about this religion, Catholic, and how our own churches are giving in. Look at this. This unity amongst churches. Who is behind it? Ecumenism, it's called. It's the mother church which is behind it. It's running it from behind the scene. Ecumenism, bringing all the churches together. You weaken your stand on the truth of this Bible when your church joins those kind of movement. If you are part of the church that is part of the ecumenical movement, get out of that church, because you are going back to Rome. You are going back to the power that Satan gave to that church, to the first beast. Get out. That's a word of love from Revelation 14:1 ministry. Get out. In Daniel 11 verse 40 it says, and at the time of the end shall the king of the south. Now let's look at the king of the south. We've looked at the king of the north. King of the south shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind. So Daniel is seeing the future. What time in the future is he being shown here? The time of the end. It says here, and at the time of the end, the king of the south. Who's king of the south? Islam is Islam, or the Muslim religion, is now pushing at the king of the north. What do you see today? And the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind. What are we witnessing today on a daily basis? On our TV screens, this is what we are seeing. Look at that. The king of the south pushing at the king of the north. Where's this? This is not happening in the Middle East. This is happening in France, in England, in Sweden, in Germany, everywhere in the area of the king of the north. This is happening. This is reality. But 800 years before the time of Christ, Daniel was shown this vision. And he says, write down, at the time of the end, the king of the south will be pushing into the area of the king of the north. Right there. You see this. See what it says here. Exterminate those who slander Islam. This is right there in England. Here. Sharia law for France. They're openly doing this. No democracy. We want just Islam. We don't want democracy. Here, Islamic Emirate for Britain. They're so bold. Little do they realize that they are only fulfilling the prophecy of Daniel 11. The king of the south pushing into the king of the north. Right there. It's right there. We are seeing it being fulfilled. Right in front of our faces on that screen of the TV that you are watching every day. King of the south pushes into the area of the king of the north. But it says that the king of the north will come down on the king of the south like a whirlwind. Look at what just happened recently. In Syria, the US of A is showing its power, combined with France and I think it was Britain. They bombed the area out. That's only the beginning. Because what does prophecy say? This is what the prophecy says. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind. We've just seen the whirlwind there in those pictures. With chariots and with horsemen and with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. So he goes into these countries and will overflow and pass over. So he's not only going to stick around there in Syria. This journey will end up in Egypt, as it says here. So those are the pictures. It's like a whirlwind now. The king of the north, who controls the US of A, controls France. This is his area. It controls Germany. All these nations with great power. Now they're showing their comeback. They wanted to use democracy, but democracy doesn't work for these people. The king of the south. They only believe in dictatorship. Daniel 11:41 says, listen to this. He shall enter. Who is he? The king of the north. Enter also into the glorious land. What is the glorious? Who is the glorious land? That nation, Israel. And many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of his hands, even Edom, Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. That's another study that we will study later on. Why were these nations spared? And verse 42 says, he shall stretch forth his hand, this is the king of the north, also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. So you see, the king of the north comes down on the king of the south, and it's already begun. It's begun in Syria. And it will continue right down south till Egypt. The second beast in glorious land. The second beast is already there. Just this week, we're witnessing the opening of the US Embassy in Jerusalem. So the US of A, the second beast, is making that first move, recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Something no other nation dared to do because they were trying to appease the Islamic nations. But Trump says, I will go and build my embassy right there in Jerusalem, and he did a few days ago. So the US embassy is there. On the way up to the US embassy, you can see that sign there. See, the sign says US embassy, and it points up that way. But right there you will have to pass the dome on the rock. The Islamic mosque, which is a symbol to Islams all over the world, that they own Jerusalem. It's sitting right there in Jerusalem, where the temple built by Solomon was. They removed that, and here we are. We have that dome on the rock. right there, built there by Islamists. So as you pass, as you on your way up to the U.S. Embassy, you will pass that mosque, reminding you of the prophecies of the Bible, saying that this second beast, or the first beast, will go into the glorious land. Second beast also interested. You can see the second beast and Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, having a good chat. And some news that leaked out says that they have made a deal that the Vatican will soon be moved over from its seat in Rome to be relocated to Jerusalem. Fake Christianity has overpowered even the glorious land. That is exactly what we should be watching out for. It's coming in the future. But open up your ears. Students of prophecy, open up your eyes. Do not sleep, because otherwise you will miss the excitement. Okay, let's summarize the popularity of the Pope of Rome today. He's the most popular person. The first rise of the US to world dominance. That's another issue that we've covered today. The US is now dominating the world. Islamic disturbances the world over. It's happened in Europe, it's happened in the Middle East, it's happened in the continent of Africa, it's happened in Asia, it's even happening right there in my little island of Fiji. Islamists are taking over my little nation of Fiji. Next is the Catholic influence behind the scene. That is what we should also be aware of. Catholic influence behind the scene. And finally, Israel or Jerusalem, its prominence in these last days. So these are the things that we should be interested in as students of prophecy. We should always be awake to news that we hear about these events. Islam, that was how it started. It started much later on in the 600 AD. And this is where we will end today's session. I hope that this has opened up our eyes to what has happened today. Thank you.